All right, all right, all right. I'm back. I'm back. It's the Golden God here to talk a little bit more junk, pissing people off again today. That's not actually the goal is to piss anybody off, but I notice that's a lot of people's response. And, people are sensitive. What can I say? If you say something that strikes a nerve, they attack you. It's because it's almost like they feel like you're attacking them. And people only feel like that if they fit the criteria of whatever it is you're talking about. So I don't get offended by it. I like having fun with people. I will go back and forth with people. I do not care, but I'm not offended by it. So say what you want. Take whatever shots, whatever it is you know or heard about me. Feel free. I don't care. I appreciate. I welcome all engagement. They say all publicity is good publicity because you're getting the attention. So throw something my way. But the thing I wanted to talk about today is one of the biggest difference between men and women. And one of those biggest differences has a lot to do with how straightforward men are versus women. And, I kind of, in a sense, I respect how women may not be as straightforward because as a female, you want somebody to be a little softer, a little bit more considerate when they're speaking. But when they're blatantly telling you the opposite of what they actually mean, that's when it becomes difficult as a man to deal with. So one of the things I notice with men and women is that women will tell you everything that they don't need, right? And then they'll hold it against you if you don't provide it. Whereas men will tell you exactly what they need and they will hold it against you if you don't provide it. And so one will tell you what they don't need and they'll hold it against you when you don't do it. One will tell you what they do need and they'll hold it against you when you don't do it. And so, perfect example, right? What's the number one thing that women say they don't need ever since Destiny's Child dropped the infamous song, Independent, or whatever it was called, way back in the early 2000s, right? Independent woman, don't need no man. I could do it all by myself, whatever the case might be. And so the number one thing a woman is telling you is that they don't need a man, right? So you hearing that everywhere you turn. I don't need a man for this. I don't need a man for that. I could do this on my own. I could do that on my own. I could provide. I can do this. I could handle cars. I could hold my own doors, whatever the case might be, right? But the moment men stop showing up in those situations altogether, women start saying, where's all the men that do these things? Where's all the men that hold doors? Where's all the men that change tires? I've seen multiple videos of women saying they were out, with a flat tire and not a single man came around to help them. And it's like, that's an example of them saying they don't need a man. And when a man don't show up for them, when a man ain't providing for whatever it is that need is that they don't need a man for, now they mad. Now, obviously, this is not all women, so don't get too triggered. Don't get offended. Some women actually openly admit that they need a man. Some women actually openly admit that they don't need a man for certain things, but they will also openly admit that it's nice when men do those things. They would like for men to do those things. That's much more appreciated than a woman saying, I don't need a man for nothing. I got my own money. I got this. I got that. Because just finishing that by saying, but it would be nice to have somebody to do that, is an indication that you value what a man brings to the table. And that may adjust your behavior towards men just a little bit, because generally people work for what they actually want or what they will actually like, right? And so if women are going around saying, hey, I don't need a man to change my tire, but it's very nice when a man does those things for me, maybe men look at this woman a little bit different. And instead of driving by her when she's changing the tire, maybe he stops and helps because he know he's going to get some sense of gratitude, some display of appreciation after he helps her out. And so whereas a man will say, hey, I don't need a woman to help me change a tire. I can do it myself. And so when men pulled over on the side of the road with a flat tire and they get out the car, they get the stuff out of their trunk if they got it on them, and they start changing their tire. And then we don't go to social media saying, why didn't some man come and help me change my tire? Why didn't some woman come and help me change my tire? We don't complain about it because we meant it when we said, we don't need a woman for this. We don't need nobody for this. We can actually do it on our own. So we actually take pride in doing those things on our own. We're not complaining. We don't mind getting dirty. We'll get that. And if we can't do it, if we don't got the tools on our own, we have no problem calling up somebody saying, hey, AAA or insurance company, I'm over on the side of the road. This is where I'm at. I got a flat tire. I don't got the tools to change it, or I don't got a spare tire. Can you come look out? We got no problem doing that. It doesn't hurt our pride or nothing like that. And on the flip side, a woman saying she gets mad or gets bothered or feels like she's not getting the proper attention or the proper display of chivalry from a man if we're not giving her exactly what she told us she doesn't need. Now, I know y'all out there as women, y'all have said these things when you actually wanted somebody to do it. And I know as men, you've heard a woman say these things and then you said, well, you don't need it. I ain't gonna do it. And then you got the backlash from it. So, y'all can argue with your moms if y'all don't agree, but we all know that there's some individuals out there that behave to this degree on both sides. And so another thing a woman say they don't want from a man, right? Or say they don't need. Let me change that because this going to hit home. So they say they don't need a man's money. Now, this is true if you look at the level of jobs a lot of women have. They're executives, they're CEOs, they run their own businesses, they drive in Benzes, they got nice houses, nice clothes, or the designer, everything, right? They don't need a man for that. But be a man that's not providing those things, trying to be in a relationship with that woman. The first thing she gonna say is, why would I ever be involved with a man that can't provide for me the things that I already provide for myself? If he can't provide the lifestyle that I'm used to living, then he's out of his league. He punching up. And whereas a man will say, if he's working that job, he's an executive, a CEO, business owner, whatever it is, got his own income, he could afford to live a lavish life if he want, drive a Benz, designer, if that's what he chooses to do, pay for everything. If he say, I don't need a woman for her money, one of the biggest differences with a man and a woman is while she's saying, I don't need your money, but I want it, a man is saying, I don't need your money. I actually want to provide a lifestyle for you to where your money is no good here. Biggest difference between man and woman. We say exactly what we don't need and we act on it. They tell you what they don't need and they punish you if you don't provide it. So if you can't provide that lifestyle for a woman that she used to living, oh, you know what they calling you real quick. You broke. You broke. If you send her $30 for lunch, I've seen this so many times, different videos, different women clowning men for proactively sending them $30 on Cash App or on Apple Pay or whatever for lunch. And they're saying this is minimal effort. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You pull your phone out your pocket, you scroll, you open the app, you type in the number and you press send. I don't care how much money you sent. That's minimum effort. It don't take a lot of energy and effort to send the money. They're confusing effort with dollar amount. So if it don't say $300 for lunch, I don't know, for lunch, that's crazy. It's minimum effort. So what I want to know in regards to that, you know what I'm saying, just to kind of get some feedback here. What's the minimum amount that a man should be sending a woman for lunch proactively? If he just decided, if she say, hey, I'm going on lunch, and he just go ahead and shoot her some bread, what's the minimum amount that man should be shooting that woman through Cash App or Apple Pay, or give her the cash or whatever, leave it on her dresser, on the table, whatever the case might be? What's the minimum amount? I want y'all to tell me in the comments a man should be sending a woman to make it feel like to her that is actually a concerted effort in making sure she eats good. So I want y'all to tell me what that number is. I don't know. I thought $30 was a good number for lunch because personally, if I go spend money on lunch, when I'm at work, I probably don't spend no more than $12. You know what I'm saying? And if I do spend more, it's rare because, why I need to go spend, $100 on a lunch break. And honestly, it's rare that I spend $26 on lunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just don't happen that much. In my opinion, people aren't doing that on their own every single day. People like Chipotle. People like slices of pizza. People like chicken wings. You know what I'm saying? People like fast food. And while you may not want to eat that stuff, or there's even, man, I got DoorDash orders that cost me $28 where I ate good pasta, chicken, vegetables, all of that, delicious, from restaurants that have dress codes. You know what I mean? So if $30 ain't enough to get you food, I don't know what you eating. But yeah, tell me what's the minimum amount. I need some feedback on that. So that's the second thing. Women will say they don't want a man for his money. They got it on their own. But if he don't provide that life, he broke. And so another thing that they say, right, versus what men say, a woman will say, I don't need a man to protect me, right? I could handle it. Now, this happens a lot where you may give a woman some instruction on the things that are protective, that'll keep her from circumstances, that'll keep her from having to encounter situations that may require physical protection. So good direction or good guidance is protection in itself, right? I think we all can agree that if we tell our kids, hey, don't run in the street, you're protecting them even if you're not physically out there, right? So that's a form of protection. I believe that based on things I've seen, personally experienced as well, what a woman deems as protection is she can do whatever she wants, and there should be no consequence. There should be no scenario where even if she puts herself in harm's way, that she should walk away with some kind of damage or trauma. She should be able to get away unscathed because of the protection of her man. And I'm here to tell you right now, that's not protection. That's stupidity. What you want is a stupid man. You want your man to say, you can do what you want, wear what you want, go where you want, act how you want, and nobody should be able to do nothing about it. You should be able to, I saw a video about this, drive recklessly, hop out, press another grown man, slap him in the face, punch him in the face, and that man is not allowed to do anything back because you have a protective husband or boyfriend. And a smart man, instruction, this is where instruction is protection, is going to say, yo, don't be jumping out, getting all physical and reckless with people you don't know and situations that could have been avoided. That's stupid. It's careless. It's putting both of us in danger. Don't do that. That's what a smart man is going to say. A woman, this type, don't get all defensive, y'all. So this type of woman, what she's going to do is she's going to get emotional. She's going to get reckless and careless and thoughtless about certain situations and do whatever she wants, thinking her man's going to come and rescue her. And when he doesn't, oh, buddy, he's no longer a protector. You know what he is now? Y'all know what he is now. He's a bitch. You know what I mean? To put it gently. That's what she's going to call him. From that moment forward, if he don't jump out and protect her, she ain't ever going to feel comfortable. She ain't ever going to feel safe. She not going to be attracted to him no more, no matter what she says. And all because she just wants to do whatever she wants without any consequence. That's how women view protection a lot of times. Now, again, this isn't all women. Y'all calm down in them comments. But even you as women, y'all have seen your friends act like nothing can happen to them. Act like if they walk up on a man getting physical, they gonna just call the cops and we know who the cops gonna come get. So that's what women mean when they say they don't need protection. They actually mean, let me do whatever I want. Don't tell me anything. But if something does happen, come save me or avenge me, whatever the case might be. That's what you got to do as a woman. Excuse me, not what you have to do as a woman, but that's their interpretation of protection. And so with a man, we're not going to talk about protection for a man But again, one thing that a man will tell you when it comes to something that he wants, he means it, right? If a man says, I need regular sex, that means that man needs regular sex. Now, he's telling you that because he wants that with you. So if a man is telling you, hey, this is what my expectation is sexually. Now, don't y'all get all up in arms, my body, my choice. I do what I want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, we can all apply that to some form of fashion when it comes to what our partner wants. But the reason we can get in relationships with certain people is because we have the understanding and we feel like we can meet their needs. We at least have the capacity to try. You feel what I'm saying? So if a man says, I need regular sex, that doesn't mean he needs sex once every couple of months. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean he wants to have sex twice a year. What that means is whatever he tells you his schedule, if he says, hey, I need it 3 or 4 times a week minimum, then you should try to talk to him if you can't do that ahead of time, or give him that ahead of time, because he's telling you ahead of time that's what he needs. That's what he wants. He's going to hold it against you if you don't do that. If you do that, he's not going to say, that's not what I really wanted. He's going to be like, yo, she gives it to me exactly the way I need it when I need it. She's perfect. I don't need to be, because listen, men are very sexual. Imagery turns on a man real quick, right? And so a lot of times when men cheat, now don't get it twisted, I'm not justifying all this, but a lot of times when men cheat, it's because they haven't already been taken care of, and they start to get turned on by imagery, right? And now a lot of this stuff is done on purpose. Billboards, songs, ads that you might see on your phone and stuff like that. Even regular posts and stuff that you see. Like, you search anything on TikTok, and trust me, I can attest to this. I've seen women, men, everybody posting in the comments. They say, yo, while I'm searching gray squirrel, and some sexy woman pops up, you know, doing a TikTok dance. You know what I mean? So you almost can't get away from it the way it's pushed and promoted, right? So men see the imagery and things of that nature, and they get aroused by that. And the problem is, instead of women a lot of times listening to the man and taking care of his needs the way he said he needs to have them taken care of, they're saying, okay, not right now. They're saying, I got a headache all day. They're saying maybe later, whatever the case might be. So sometimes what happens is a man goes out in the world and it's not even his objective to cheat. And he has this imagery and he's just like, man, you know, I got to take care of this, or whatever the case might be. Now, again, I'm not saying this is the case all the time. There are some hounds out here who's just going out there with a goal to do that. There are some men out here who feel this way and they have no discipline. But I'm just saying that this does happen. But ultimately, we're not going to punish you or hold it against you for doing what we ask of you, letting you know what we need, and then you obliging by it. We're going to hold it against you when you don't. And so another example of a man saying he wants something and hold it against you when you don't provide it, versus a woman saying what they don't need and hold it against you when you do provide it, like protection. So another thing, right? So a woman, I don't need no daddy or leader. I don't need somebody telling me what to do. I'm a grown woman. You ain't my daddy, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we're not talking about it in a sexual way. We just talking about it in a life way, right? Experience. You know, using logic in situations to get the best results a lot of times. There are some women that have that attitude and they constantly make really bad decisions about life, right? And so you could tell them ahead of time, this is probably not the best decision. You know, not forcefully like, yo, don't do that. If you do that, I'm going to hem you up. I'm going to shake you. I'm going to do something to you. Nah, not like that. I'm just saying, like, really presenting information like, listen, you really think that's the best idea? You should probably be moving like this instead of that. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking to avoid certain situations or get better results or whatever the case might be. And there's some women out here that get mad at that because they don't want nobody to tell them nothing about nothing. Nothing about nothing. So they don't need no daddy, right? Okay, cool. You don't need no dad. Heard you. What's one of the most known responsibilities of a man when it comes to his daughter? Make sure that she has everything that she needs so she don't gotta run to some man getting it, right? That's actually the real reason men actually do that, is to help a woman maintain her purity, if you know what I mean. So dads understand with their daughters how valuable, their centerpiece is. You feel me? And so we want them to keep that and hold that valuable and keep it clean for the right individual, so that he treats it and treats you as valuable as you are by maintaining that purity. We don't want you to get lost in the, it's just sex, because you're actually reducing your value. Now you do have value, but in terms of how the market views you, and this is why a lot of women won't share their body counts, because they know this. They don't like it. They might not think it's fair, but it is a reality that the more bodies you have, the more your value decreases in the eyes of a man a lot of times, right? Most times, the vast majority of the time. So, but the other part of it is making sure she has everything she needs, right? Monetarily, all her necessities, clothes, food. You know what I'm saying? If your daughter's staying with you, you're probably helping her get a car, or paying for a car, or gassing up her car, or changing her tires, all that stuff that, you would want her man to do in life, right? Now, as a man, if you have a lady and you're not doing those things, right? You're not being a quote unquote daddy to her. You're not spoiling her, paying for everything. You're not taking care of all the masculine responsibilities. You're not standing up for her. You're not protecting her. All those things she said she don't need, right? Don't do those things. And watch the reaction you get from a female with this mindset. Don't do the things that she says she doesn't need. Don't be the man that she says she don't need. And watch how she reacts towards you. And watch the end result be, you should have known, just because you're a man, that every woman wants these things. Now, the crazy thing is they won't say that until you don't do it. It's almost like they testing you. But every woman that says, I don't need these things, actually needs those things. Well, I'm not going to say every woman that says that. Every woman with this mentality that says that. And we all know they exist. Now, in terms of a man, we will straight up say, listen, I need your support, your emotional support, right? So a man will say, I need your emotional support. He's not going to hold it against you if you give him emotional support. If you're there for them, if you rub him on his back after you know he had a long day. He may not always want to talk about it, because we understand we can't unload that stuff on our women. But we will appreciate it. We will appreciate you. And so it's just another example of a man saying exactly what he wants and actually giving you credit for it, for providing it. And if we say we don't want something, it's because we mean it. We're direct communicators when we communicate. We communicate directly. If you ask a man what's wrong and he say, I don't want to talk about it, this is one of the rare situations where he may want to talk about it, but he don't want the results of talking about it, which in turn mean he don't want to talk about it. That's probably one of the rare cases where he actually wants something and will say he doesn't want it. And that's all because of the repercussions that he may get from actually talking about it. So the best thing to do is to not talk about it, to avoid that negativity. Now, if you build a safe place and you say, hey, what's wrong? And you know, he's divulged a little bit of information and you made him feel comfortable, then maybe he will talk about that stuff a little bit more. But generally speaking, most men know enough to not talk about stuff in detail or in full because we know how that's going to change the way our women view us. So I want to know what y'all think. Am I hitting the nail on the head? Am I right on the button with that when I say a lot of women tell you what they don't want, but you actually better do it? And a man will say, hey, this is exactly what I want. And he actually means it when he says that's exactly what he wants. Let me know if y'all think that's true or not. Let me know if y'all think it's false. Let me know what y'all personal experiences are. I can relate to it both ways, honestly. So yeah, drop a like, drop a comment, you know, subscribe to the page. I'm gonna keep trying to bring y'all more content on a little more of a consistent basis. And this is Golden God. I'll holla at y'all later.